Donald Trump dramatically calling off trade talks with Canada, and this is all over a TV ad campaign. We'll explain why. Because the ads feature Republican President Ronald Reagan criticising tariffs. Here's Sky News Washington correspondent Annalise Nielsen.
No one is more revered by modern Republicans than former President Ronald Reagan. So to use his own words against President Donald Trump is about as personal as it gets. The Ontario government in Canada launched this multi-million-dollar ad campaign using the voiceover from a radio address by former President Ronald Reagan, where he railed against tariffs.
That the way to prosperity for all nations.
Which prompted Donald Trump to post this furious response on Truth Social. Canada cheated and got caught. They fraudulently took a big buy ad saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs, when actually he loved tariffs for our country and its national security. Canada is trying to illegally influence the United States Supreme Court in one of the most important rulings in the history of our country. Canada has long cheated on tariffs, charging our farmers as much as 400%. Now they and other countries can't take advantage of the US any longer. Thank you to the Ronald Reagan Foundation for exposing this fraud. Make America great again. The Ronald Reagan Institute says the ad takes Reagan's words out of context. While Ronald Reagan did support some trade restrictions, for instance around Japanese semiconductors, he was overwhelmingly a passionate free trader.
The way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition.
The Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said he was ready to resume trade talks whenever Donald Trump is ready.
For months, we have stressed the importance of distinguishing things we can control and things we can't control. We can't control the trade policy of the United States. We recognize that that policy has fundamentally changed from the policy in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And it's a situation where the United States has tariffs against every one of their trading partners to different degrees.
I think the frustration has built up over time. I've been involved in some of these negotiations, and the Canadians have been very difficult to negotiate with. And you look at all the countries around the world that we've made deals with, and the fact that we're now negotiating with Mexico separately reveals that it's not just about one ad, that there's frustration that's built up.
The Ontario government has now agreed to pull the ads from next Monday. Clearly, they've already had the desired effect. Annalise Nielsen, Sky News.
So you telling me that you use our own former president's voice, right? So you use our own former president's voice to try to convince Americans. Former president from Canada. So, sorry, let me rephrase this. Canada uses an ad with the voice of our former President Reagan about him not liking tariffs because we're in negotiation with Canada about tariffs. So you try to use the American voice to convince your people and possibly Americans that your beloved President Ronald Reagan didn't like it, when in actuality, he loved tariffs. So you try to spread a false narrative and spend millions of dollars behind this campaign while you're in negotiation. That's like back talking a person while you're trying to negotiate with them so y'all can come to a mutual agreement. And I think that's how Donald Trump took it. And that's how he should take it. Because if you're the last country out of multiple countries to even negotiate, and I'm giving you leniency and I'm extending the tariff on you so you don't get hit immediately until we get done with negotiation, because you don't want to do reciprocal, because if we did reciprocal, it would ruin your economy. So we're trying to do you a deal. And then in the midst of that deal, you go out with a TV ad that kinds of shoot shots at the government that you're trying to make a deal with. Did I get that right? And not only that, you use an ad campaign of a voice of a former president of that same country to try to make that deal with, to scope the mentality of the people that you're trying to convince, right? And then you take it out of context. At first, I heard it was AI. I heard that they altered the voice of Ronald Reagan to say some shit through AI. But I'm guessing Ronald Reagan possibly said something as this such, but they clipped it up to make it seem he hates tariffs. when in actuality he loves tariffs. And then it did come out later that actually the family of the Reagans want to sue Canada now because they depicted their father or grandfather as a bad person, as a person that didn't like tariffs when he loves it. You know what I'm saying? That's like depicting a person as someone that wants freedom, but you depict them as a non-freedom person. You know what I'm saying? Just slander his name. And basically, it's really disrespectful to the United States due to the fact that we're not only just protecting you against foreign adversaries like Russia, because they eat off your plate if we let them. So not only is we're not doing this, we're negotiating stuff for like farmers, equipment, tariffs, stuff that we need to trade with, and we're doing it with you, Canada, and you got the nerve to come out with an ad to disrespect the country that's actually giving you leniency over other countries, because we don't have this type of leniency to other countries as we're doing with Canada. We're not negotiating them that long because we know that they'll mess their economy. Now Canada, they got other allies, but cool. We're protecting Canada, and I think what it is I think Canada believes that if they're not there and they work for the enemy, that they're protecting us. I think that's probably what Canada believes. See, I don't understand. I say this. I say do reciprocal tariffs. If they don't want our farmland and making our agriculture not as good, then, hey, we do the same tariff that you charge us that we're going to charge you. We see how their economy has, and then we'll come back to the table in 6 months. I say that. Let's do that. Just do reciprocal. I'd say Trump, he pulled back from the negotiation. Just hit him with this. Hey, we're doing reciprocal tariffs. Now deal with that. End of discussion. We'll deal with it. Facts. Right? Because that's just tariffs when it comes to goods and stuff and trade. Now, we're not talking about security. Security is a whole other thing. We're going to give security to Canada, so we ain't not in cahoots with Canada. We're really actually allies. But when it comes to these trades, even if you're part of North America, you're still going to give us a decent amount of trade. You're not just going to finesse us because you're on the main land like with us. You're protected due to the fact that you're over here with us. You know what I'm saying? You connected to the major power. You could not be. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I do find this as disrespectful to not only the president, but to the country itself. So Canada was right. I guess they kept a calm mind and said, hey, we'll be sitting here when you're ready. Because what's going to happen is Trump is going to be like, hey, reciprocal. Fuck it. We're just going to do reciprocal. Because that's the fairest trade. If it's not reciprocal, then it needs to be negotiated. And if we're negotiating and you spreading false statements about my country, why should I make you a deal? I'm the master negotiator. Why should I make you and cut you any slack because you're connected to us? No, you're slandering our country's name. And then you're using presidents that did great by our country and misusing their words on purpose. First off, you're Canadian. Why are you even making a commercial with an American voice? Use a Canadian voice. You know what I'm saying? Why are you using American voices to get your point across with tariffs? I don't know, man. It's a slippery slope. Trump should have done that? Hey, man, I feel like in the point of negotiation, if he felt disrespected that he's trying to use American resources against America, cut all deals. They'll get it right. Because you need a leader like that. If you didn't have a leader like that, what's going to happen is they're going to manipulate us. They think they can keep using our tactics against us. They think they can use people that have spoken in our country against the American people. What they should have done is got a sweet deal, locked it in, then did all that sweet shit. Facts. You gonna tell Shorty what you want from her first, or you gonna get what you want from her first and then tell her what's up? And that's in Canada's aspect. That's how Canada should look at us. Like, hey, if you wanted to do that, you should have did that after you secured the deal. But instead, you did it vice versa. For what reason? You're in the middle of negotiation. You just fucked up the deal. It's just like you're at a business table and you're talking. And this person says some outlandish shit. And you're like, what? Deal's over. You tweaking. Get up out of here. We'll come back when we need to. Until then, your economy might be fucked and we going to flourish because we America. So be it. How dare you? That's how I look at it. Either way, tell me what y'all think about this in the comments section. Is Trump wrong about this situation, or was he standing on business? You know what I'm saying? Was he standing on business? Now, I understand this might affect the electricity and all that shit and tariffs, but we're going to see what happens with that, man, at the end of the day. And this is why America needs its own power grid, needs its own things to fund its own infrastructure. We can't be outsourcing too much because we're relying on other countries to function. That being said, make sure you like the YouTube video for the YouTube algorithm. Lastly, but not least, do not forget to subscribe. It's your boy, Angelo Savage. Let's go. Peace.